What do Diddy's shocking allegations, Epstein's infamous island, and secret intelligence operations against celebrities all have in common? Are these just isolated scandals or part of something much bigger? Why are so many powerful names suddenly being exposed? Who's really pulling the strings behind the scenes? The pieces of this dark puzzle are starting to align, and what they reveal might be more disturbing than you ever imagined. When people hear intelligence agencies, they think of shadowy operatives or covert missions in distant lands. But what if their tactics extended closer to home, seeking out influential figures not to monitor, but to manipulate? That's the theory that keeps circling figures like Epstein and, more surprisingly, Diddy. The idea isn't some new conspiracy to spice up dinner parties. Instead, it's tied to long-standing speculation that intelligence networks identify individuals with a certain profile, exploiting their ambitions, their vices, or even their weaknesses to weave them into larger unseen agendas. Take Jeffrey Epstein, for example. His grotesque empire wasn't just about wealth or abuse, at least not entirely. The speculation surrounding his operations often points to something far deeper than just personal depravity. Some credible researchers and high-profile insiders have suggested that Epstein's ability to collect incriminating evidence on the rich and powerful may have been part of a much larger hidden agenda. There's an unsettling theory that he wasn't working alone, that his actions may have been tied to a broader, more shadowy system. One that operates behind closed doors, one that influences governments, controls institutions, and quietly shapes the world without accountability. His island wasn't just luxurious, it was allegedly wired, rumored to record everything and everyone. A personal blackmail library masquerading as paradise. Now compare that to Diddy. On the surface, these two figures couldn't be more different. Diddy built an empire from hip-hop, defining an entire generation with his charisma, hits, and ability to stay ahead of the curve in entertainment. But over time, accusations against him have gone from whispers to unsettling screams, from lawsuits alleging violence to deeply uncomfortable raids where evidence surfaced, like that infamous clip of an unidentified bearded man screaming cryptic threats. Diddy's name has begun surfacing in a far darker narrative than pop culture ever prepared us for. Some critics have suggested his ability to sidestep legal repercussions so consistently might point to connections we aren't seeing. Could he also fit the profile of someone intelligence organizations would find useful? All of this brings us to the fascinating claim made on the Joe Rogan Experience, a claim that intelligence agencies specifically target powerful individuals to control them through blackmail. And think about it, there's no shortage of men out there whose appetites, unchecked by consequence, make them prime candidates for manipulation. If agencies hold the potential to quietly help their chosen figures escape consequences, what's stopping those figures from becoming pawns in larger games? After all, the enormous influence both Epstein and Diddy wielded over the rich and powerful didn't just protect them, it potentially served as leverage, hidden in plain sight. And let's not forget the evidence, or lack thereof, highlighted during these investigations. Diddy's raids shone a bizarre light on his alleged activities. For a man so publicly meticulous about his image, the discovery of unusual items sparked even more speculation. What was the purpose of certain objects? And why, in one particular raid, did so many tracks lead nowhere? Questions dismissed as if they weren't worth answering. These loose ends mirrored, in a chilling way, the gaping holes left behind in Epstein's case. Despite mountains of theoretical evidence, guest logs, finances tracing back decades, the whispers of high-profile credibility, much of it was brushed aside or buried. Is it all coincidental that both figures attract similar theories and accusations? Or does it suggest that there's a mechanism intentionally protecting their ability to operate unchecked? To some, like those fueling these speculations online, this isn't random at all. According to the pattern, intelligence connections not only explain these protections, but reinforce the chilling role blackmail seems to play in controlling the most famous among us. The deeper you look, the more their tales mirror each other. Runaway power, immunity to justice, and unsettling networks tied to some of the world's most elite players. But if intelligence agencies played even a part in their rise, or their ability to evade justice, what would the goal be? Perhaps manipulation is the ultimate answer. By turning the influential into controlled assets, those behind the scenes leverage fears, evidence, and charisma to tip the global scales in their favor. That theory is unsettling, sure, but could also explain why action against such figures seems so delayed or diluted when it arrives at all. And there's an even darker possibility. What if Epstein and Diddy weren't just manipulated, but were manipulators themselves, learning, adapting, and using these tactics to bend others to their will? What does it say about their alleged blackmail operations that they parallel each other at every turn? That's where we're headed next, because in both their cases, the art of silencing others wasn't just a tactic, it was practically a science. Blackmail. It's a word that conjures up images of power exchanged in the shadows, and in the cases of Epstein and Diddy, it seems to have been a cornerstone of how they operated. These aren't accusations floating aimlessly in rumor mills. Instead, they're tied to detailed accounts and tangible evidence that paint a troubling picture of control over victims, over the powerful, and ultimately over consequences. Jeffrey Epstein's island wasn't just a tropical backdrop, it was a web spun for strategic purposes. According to a Wired investigation, his Little St. James Island wasn't just the site of private gatherings, it was a meticulously monitored space. Location data tracking from visitors' mobile phones between 2016 and 2019 revealed how their movements were captured with stunning precision. Routes to and from the island were mapped down to the centimeter, reportedly using data collected by a broker that had ties to the Defense Department. This setup wasn't accidental. It suggests a larger system designed to gather leverage on guests, whether they were aware of it or not. Epstein knew that information was currency, and through sophisticated surveillance, he controlled a treasure trove of secrets. Diddy's alleged methods didn't feature remote tropical locales, but they reportedly relied on a similarly calculated environment of exploitation. At his infamous parties, the accusations suggest careful planning to draw people into situations they couldn't escape. Jaguar Wright, a former music industry insider, stated that Diddy would use a cocktail of drugs, including ketamine, cocaine, and Viagra, to manipulate the behavior of his guests. This concoction reportedly relaxed attendees while simultaneously keeping them energized for sexual activity, creating a space where inhibitions dissolved. And like Epstein, Diddy is accused of ensuring these compromising situations were documented. April Lampros, one of his accusers, stated that he taped everything without her knowledge. She said he held those recordings over her, threatening to ruin her career if she stepped out of line. It's hauntingly similar to the tactics Epstein is said to have used, filing away videos and photos that could destroy reputations with a single leak. Both men allegedly understood the power of this kind of evidence and wielded it like a weapon, ensuring silence from those who might speak out and compliance from those they wanted to bend to their wills. The allegations surrounding Diddy paint a disturbing picture, one that extends far beyond music or celebrity gossip. Multiple lawsuits and testimonies have accused him of operating in a world fueled by power imbalances, coercion, and manipulation. Rather than isolated claims, these accusations appear to form a pattern, raising deeper questions about how much protection, fame, and influence can buy, and whether there are forces behind the curtain that benefit from keeping people like him untouchable. Sean Diddy Combs has faced mounting legal trouble in recent years, with 7 major criminal charges brought against him, ranging from drug trafficking to human trafficking and assault. As of now, he has managed to avoid conviction on 5 of those charges, reportedly due to a combination of plea deals, dismissed evidence, and high-powered legal defense. However, 2 of the most serious accusations, racketeering and sexual exploitation, remain unresolved. These charges are currently pending a final federal ruling, with sentencing scheduled for October 2025. Prosecutors allege that Diddy played a central role in organizing and financing a network of criminal activity under the guise of his music empire, and all eyes are on the upcoming verdict to see whether justice will be fully served. But how did both men seem to escape consequence for so long? Epstein's recorded evidence reportedly kept powerful visitors to his island in check. Meanwhile, Diddy's alleged threats, bolstered by wealth and legal power, silenced victims while preventing larger investigations from sticking. His ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura accused him of abuse and exploitation in a lawsuit, but it was settled out of court in under 24 hours. The speed of such resolutions feels intentional, as if it's part of a larger system designed to protect. It raises chilling questions about blackmail as their ultimate weapon. In industries dominated by power and reputation, it becomes the perfect shield and sword, silencing whistleblowers while commanding influence. But here's the critical point: neither man worked in isolation. It's this web of protection, this safety net of silence interwoven with power, that hints at something far larger than just their individual actions. If there's one thing that stands out about both Diddy and Epstein's stories, it's how untouchable they seemed, even with mounting evidence against them. Whether it's Diddy's alleged misconduct caught on tape, or Epstein's infamous connections to power players worldwide, a pattern emerges. They weren't acting alone. Someone or something always seemed to be working behind the scenes, ensuring that accountability rarely caught up with them. The real question is, who or what allowed this? Epstein was connected to billionaires, politicians, scientists, and even royalty. His private jet wasn't nicknamed the Lolita Express for nothing. It ferried elite guests to his private island, a known hub of illegal activity. And yet the full list of those visitors remains hidden even after Ghislaine Maxwell's conviction. Similarly, Diddy, with his empire of music and celebrity connections, seems to move in a space where normal rules don't always apply. From brushing off accusations of violence to evading consequences from internal raids, there's little doubt his fame isn't his only protection. What ties these stories together isn't just the men themselves or the crimes they're accused of. It's the systems that let them thrive, shielded by layers of wealth and influence. Both men benefit from these networks, which extend their reach far beyond what any single person could achieve or escape from alone. What's deeply unsettling is the realization that these aren't isolated incidents. If such systems protected Epstein and are alleged to protect Diddy, they might still be operating today, shielding a new roster of clients. The question isn't just what we're missing now, it's how much has already been buried. The Diddy and Epstein cases point to something far more disturbing than isolated misconduct. They expose a world where power and privilege may allow certain individuals to operate above the law. With Epstein's list still hidden and the full scope of Diddy's alleged actions still unfolding, one has to wonder, how deep does this really go? Who else is out there operating in the shadows, protected by the very systems meant to hold them accountable? Were Epstein and Diddy just the tip of the iceberg, or pawns in something even larger? A coordinated effort to collect secrets, control the influential, and feed a machine obsessed with leverage and information? Drop your thoughts below, because if these were the ones who got caught, who didn't?